Okay, this is actually wild. One of my friends, API dev, linked in my Discord a paste bin talking about a conspiracy theory that has actually been solved, basically surrounding a certain cooldown that's happening when you open lesser tier caskets for master clues. Basically, there's a legitimate timer that starts when you get your last master from when you can get another master clue passively from these caskets. So we're going to cover this paste bin and we'll just talk about it. So, oh, this chat's up. What up, Roy, here in the background? But we do have the game up, so I know some of you guys were, wanting that little game footage, so we got to hear them just chopping these magics. We don't have the live chat quite yet, but we'll work on that. I'm actually kind of curious on it. We had some like back and forth in the comments, debating whether or not it would be good to have a live chat, but we'll try it out a few times. So, in the future. PSA, the mystery surrounding juggling master clues while opening caskets has been solved. TLDR below if you want to skip the science. I decided to use the beta worlds to test more about the master clue problem. So I didn't even really know this was a problem. I'll be fully honest. I don't know where. I mean, I guess there's just so many people doing clue scrolls. Surely with the just mass amount of people doing these, somebody's going to be like, something's up, something's sus about this. Especially now with it must have been because of the hour-long clues that can be dropped on the ground. Like, surely there's a lot of people just dropping several masters on the ground repeatedly. And anyway, we're going to get to this, and I'll talk a little bit more about it. So, because I already read this, so I'm going to be skipping. So let me just not skip. Let me just read this first, so we all have the general picture. So, I decided to use the beta worlds to test more about the master clue problem. We've seen that having multiple master clues on the floor while opening clue caskets was giving a decreased drop rate for master clues. But there were a few theories as to what was really causing it. Types of clues on the floor blocking rolls of the same type from appearing in the caskets, etc. So I thought I'd do a trial of opening 1,000 elite caskets while always having one master on the floor and alching the new ones from the caskets. And then a trial of opening 1,000 elite caskets while not having a master on the floor to see if there was any statistically significant loss of master clues just from juggling a triple step during openings. I started the trial with one master on the floor, and after opening a few hundred caskets, my rate for masters was stabilizing around 1 in 10, which, for those that don't know, is supposed to be a 1 in 5. I was also checking each master before alching them to see what types they were. I was getting a good mix of all types, including triples with some of the same steps as the triple on the floor. So there was some evidence against the blocking theory. I also started to notice that despite having a rate around 1 in 10, I wasn't really seeing back-to-back masters, even though that shouldn't be too uncommon of an occurrence. This led me to a crazy crackpot tinfoil hat theory. What if there's a cooldown timer between receiving master clues from caskets? Surely that can't be in the game. With the new crackpot theory in the back of my head, I started glancing at the tick counter on the report button every time I got a master, and it seemed like I never got a master within 50 ticks, 30 seconds of the previous one. It was starting to look like a more solid theory, so I abandoned the trial I was working on to start a test of this new hypothesis. This original trial ended at 73 masters in 776 elite caskets. Jesus, yeah, that's literally half the drop rate, so not good. 2 trials to test the new hypothesis. Trial 1, no masters on the floor, alch all masters received, open caskets as fast as possible, time the gaps between masters. Result, 17 masters in 300 elite caskets. Every time I got a master, I took a mental note of the tick counter, alch the clue, and opened as many caskets as possible in the next 30-second window. Throughout the whole trial, I never received a master clue within 30 seconds of the previous one, despite often opening 20-plus caskets in that time frame and having none on the floor. Trial 2, dropping all received masters to the floor, waiting 30 seconds after each master. Result, 61 masters and 300 elite caskets. Every time I got a master, I took a mental note of the tick counter, dropped the clue, and waited 50 ticks before opening more. I forgot that I have these magic locks. You guys love this, don't you? There were several instances where I opened a casket exactly 50 ticks after receiving the previous master, and I received a master. This shows, this shows that 30 seconds is safe, and the actual cooldown isn't something slightly longer, like 35 seconds or whatever. I had up to 15 masters on the ground at one time and still received masters at the normal rate, showing that the number of masters on the floor doesn't actually impact the drop rate. So the TLDR is every time you open a clue casket and receive a master clue scroll, a 30-second cooldown timer starts. During that time, any caskets that are now open cannot give a master clue, even if you drop the previous master to the floor. The number of master clues on the floor has no impact on the drop rate, at least up to 15 through my testing. So it's safe to stack masters on the floor while doing clue openings. But always wait at least 30 seconds after receiving a master before opening more caskets. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So this is fascinating because, like, I mean, who would have ever suspected this? I don't ever think this was a problem again before the whole hour dropping. I mean, nowadays, I don't even know the full scope of this because I'm not a main and I haven't honestly been doing a bunch of clues in the past couple months. But there are some mains that are going crazy with this whole clue scroll update. I mean, I'm seeing people just not, I mean, wasn't it, I think it was either Basiligis or Casey, just like literally cannoning and just melting lava dragons out in the wilderness and just dropping all the elites on the ground. They got like, 20 elites stacked and just, it's just going crazy. And now there's a new Hellhound method, which I need to test out. Apparently there's a new Hellhound method because they allowed, I'm pretty sure it's either 9 ticks or 9 seconds between each Hellhound respawning now in the wilderness. So if you're using a cannon, well, it was tested with like granite cannonballs, you can now get like, and I think it was a crossbow or something, or a web weaver. You can now get like 26 hards or something an hour. Now, of course, that's not completing 26 hards an hour. That's not even possible. But you are going to be getting this. So I wonder, well, nowadays with the stacking, all you're trying to do is just get as many hards as possible, stack them all up at the crafting guild or wherever you're going to be banking, and then just leave them there and then do a huge clue session. So it's really fascinating how this whole clue meta is shaking up. But one of the really interesting things is this, because I feel like it's going to be really common and already has become common for people to just juggle like 4 or 5 different masters on the ground. So if you just grab one and start reopening again, that is a really depressing thing to realize that all those caskets that you now open in the next 30-second time window are just, you're not getting any rolls. So this is really, really valuable information, and I appreciate this guy. Apparently, he remains anonymous. It says a guest, so untitled. So whoever made this, thank you for your, science and your contribution to the clue hunters. So really, really fascinating stuff. Let me know what you guys think about this, and there will be some more videos talking about some of the new clue methods coming up, and that have already appeared, Hellhounds specifically mainly, but also talking about stackable clues as actual stackable clues in the future. Because again, I still fall into that same sentiment that I've talked about in previous rambles, where the whole juggling clues for an hour on the ground just feels odd. It feels off. It's just it's purely subjective. You guys can let me know if you feel the same. It's not that big of a deal, but ultimately it literally does not feel like a stable mechanic for the game. It feels like we're in this limbo where we're going to try to figure out some other solution to clue scrolls. Because I don't know. It does feel weird just being able to endlessly kind of have these clues sitting on the ground and you can log out for an hour and they're just still sitting there. And people like it. For the most part, I don't really see many people complaining, but I think it just feels weird. It feels weird for that to be the efficient meta. So I don't know. Maybe over time, I'm just going to get used to it, and it's going to be like, oh, this is totally fine because time has passed enough. So I'm just completely used to it and it just feels normal. But right now, I still just feel like it's a weird mechanic. So you're going to let me know what you guys think about all this. Love to hear what your comments are. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and be sure to subscribe. More rambles coming, and we are going to try out that YouTube live with the chat down in the bottom. So I'm going to have to rearrange some things. Maybe with the YouTube chat, I wouldn't have the game open because I've literally only cut 2 inventories of magic logs so far anyway. So we're struggling anyway, but it's because it's on the other side. It's on this side of the monitor. I'm reading on this side. So anyway, thank you guys for all listening. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.